Hi, welcome back to Random BS. There's so many things going on today. COVID, vaccines, racism. I mean, for the past few months, everywhere you look was COVID and Gates, vaccines, WHO, CDC, Fauci, Trump, Twitter. And now, for the past week, all I'm seeing is racism, which is something I studied for a very long time, which I'm sure I told you, from 1984 to, well, I mean, I've always studied it. I just stopped focusing. It was my main focus for a long time, and then it wasn't. In about 2003 and 4, I was still focusing on it while I was in school for criminal justice. So I still had a little bit of a focus on it because I felt that, I really focused on recidivism, how the criminal justice system doesn't work, and the fact that racism exists in the criminal justice system. So as I was kind of teetering off the subject, it kind of lingered on because of what I was studying. But when I started studying it in 1984. I mean, I was always interested in it since I was about 7 years old. So in the 70s. But then in 84, I was mainly studying Hitler. And now I'll never not have an interest in it. I just can't believe all of the different views, and this divide and conquer crap is just, I mean, I've gone through part of this in my life. I will never know what it feels like to have brown skin, because remember, there's no such thing as a black person and a white person, because nobody has white skin and nobody has black skin. But I will never know and never want to know what they go through because they're considered a different race, because there is biologically no such thing as race. So somebody decided there was, and somebody decided it was part of the plan for divide and conquer. I mean, it wasn't the only plan, but it's just another part of this agenda that's been going on for a few thousand years. But it wasn't back then divide and conquer. Let's just say you're a different race and you're less intelligent. It was other things. I mean, pretty much we're divided by many different things. This is the whole thing with, as I was explaining in another video, that we're supposed to go in as opposed to searching from the outside of ourselves to get to know God, our inner being, whatever you want to call anything above that. And there were so many things put in place to distract us from who we really are, that it's always something new. And it always seems to work because people are so brainwashed that they have no idea they're being played, is the best way I can put it. They're being fooled. And the rabbit hole runs deep. I mean, I pull up YouTube, so besides all of the spiritual things that I have on my homepage, because of course, you pull up your homepage and the videos that will come up are basically what you're interested in, and then some other crap. So once you watch one thing about racism or one thing about spirituality, the whole page is filled with it. But just lately on all of the social platforms, it's just about racism. Like, I found TikTok a while ago, and people were just being creative. They were locked down. It brought everyone together because people were being very funny. They were trying not to be bored. They were sharing their selves with us, and I would watch it every night before going to sleep because it made me laugh. Like, people are very funny in their way, and you don't normally see that because they're so busy in the matrix, being a slave to something, that they don't have this time. But we've had this time for these months, and now we have this. And funny though, now we have this, and suddenly COVID just disappeared. But I mean, it didn't really disappear. We had to throw racism into the mix because I don't think that it went as planned with COVID. A lot of people didn't care. Some people weren't wearing masks. I think that the number of deaths wasn't high enough for this agenda, and let's throw racism in it because then we're going to have protests, and then we're going to have so many people get together so that more people can get sick, and we can have a second wave, and then we can have curfews, and we can do even more things that contradict the Constitution. And so USC professor Joel Hayes says there is no scientific proof of social distancing. Watch Live, Trump discusses unemployment numbers. So with each little thing, we have little sub-things going on. So it wasn't just the virus, it's the entire economy. It's just, there's just so much crap. Like, exiled British millionaire exposes America's darkest secrets. Oh, I'd like to see that. Celebrities speak out over George Floyd's death. Domestic sex trafficking, a survivor's perspective. Well, I never pull that up. It's just there. Oh, probably because TEDx. Efforts to find coronavirus, COVID-19 vaccine, about to take major step. I don't know what it says after that. New York Governor Cuomo speaks on coronavirus and George Floyd protests. So glad everyone else is talking about the George Floyd protests, but I haven't heard a single thing from our leader. Coronavirus continues its economic toll as fears grow over spread. Demonstrations in coronavirus hotspots spur fear of second wave. Yeah, no doubt. Pete Hegseth deploys with D.C. National Guard amid protests. Watch brave Congresswoman shut up Hillary Clinton in Congress. Well, I have to watch that because I'd love to see someone shut her the F up. Inside the strange psychic world of indigo children. Something that is not really spoken about in mainstream anything, not in school, not in the stupid freaking media that lies and exaggerates everything and controls your mind. Nobody ever talks about that. You have to come to YouTube, or you have to find a spiritual group of people to talk about things like this, because these are the real facts. And you find them funny on YouTube, but you don't find them on mainstream media, which is where it should be, because they're hiding it from you. They hide that we have gifts, that we are all one. They hide that. And they try to tell us that there's a bunch of BS on YouTube, but YouTube is, to me, is where I look for the news, because these are real people sharing real experiences, and I don't see that on the news ever. All I see is a bunch of negative crap, like who's killing who and what's shutting down and blah, 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 blah. Chris somebody. I wish someone told me this when I was your age. Life advice will leave you speechless. One of the most, whatever it says after that. Caroline Miss. The world is going to start over again. Well, that was 3 weeks ago. I mean, it is starting over again. It's right now purging of every bad thing that's ever happened. The virus now comes up. The racism. All these things that there were secrets behind. Like people actually making viruses all of these years. So what, in 2020, in 1920, in 1820, come on. See through the veil. See through the veil. That's all I can say. An Asian guy said this to me about black people. That's the second thing I saw today. I didn't actually see the video about Asians and blacks. Like Asians are trying to buy or take over land in Asia. And then I actually did watch something tonight about that. A Nigerian news station was talking about the plan that Europe and the US and Canada has had to continue to murder Africans, not African Americans, and that it's been a plan for a long time, and that they spend billions of dollars sending them, or billions of dollars on abortions and sending them birth control. And it's not because they care, because I stated this also in one of my videos. Or maybe I mentioned it on Facebook, but if Gates was really interested in the African way of life and their people, he would change the landscape. I'm not saying now, I said a long time ago as a kid, and this wasn't out of any kind of ignorance or whatever, but all I saw in the media was how people should be giving money to help the people in Africa, and they have no water or clean water, and they're always dying, and they don't have food, and they show this on all the time. And I would say, well, why don't they help them out by giving them birth control? Like, I didn't mean that in a vicious way, but not like in mass production or anything. Maybe, on an independent basis where you actually talk with families, not just like shovel it in and expect people to die. But anyway, yeah, so with all of that money, he definitely could have changed the landscape. That would be a good idea. People don't necessarily want to stop having children, and I happen to agree that if you're living where you can't properly raise a child, or you can barely eat yourself, you should not continue to have children. It doesn't make sense, because maybe that becomes a burden on the rest of the world, but it really doesn't, because I don't see a problem where people would kindly, if they had it, help. I've seen or heard about plenty of people going to Africa to help them and change things. But I mean, it's just sending them more ways for them not to have children and to say that they should have abortions is just, that's a little insane. It's a little extreme. Yeah, so she had mentioned that. And then she had a white man come on, and he was talking about how this all started 500 years ago, and that's how it is, and white people are raised to think that they are superior just because their skin is lighter, and he was something, just screaming just how angry he is because of this whole thing. I mean, it really is stupid when you think about it, besides the fact that there's no such thing as race, but yet there is such thing as racism. I can see how people can't really make sense of this, and it's really out in the open more so now. The show China Doesn't Want You to See, NTDTV. I think I'll have to watch that also. That was 4 months ago, so I don't know what it has to do with, but it sounds interesting. And then Black People Can't Be Racist. Okay. No people can be racist because there's no such thing as race. You know, there's such thing as culture. There's such thing as a nation, a region. Mayan prophecy and COVID-19. Is it coming true, and is this the end or just, well, it probably says just the beginning, but this is not the end. It's just the end of the world the way we know it, because we can't go on like this. It's very destructive. We are ruining our planet, and people who are racist and say how minorities destroy the planet you cannot justify that kind of a statement when World War II happened. Among many other things, you're really destroying the planet when you're playing around with bombs and, you know, things like that. So everything I hear is a ridiculous amount of BS and very contradictory. Police chief breaks down after fire crews blocked from burning Richmond. Oh, is he crying? I mean, you can't keep order. It's not going to happen anymore. People don't want it, and people wouldn't mind. I mean, I think, okay, so what if we had a world without leaders, cops, because now they're talking about defunding the police. And I know there are really good cops out there who care about humanity, but a lot of them don't. And it's not just here, so it's not like, you know, white cops are this and white cops are that, because it happens with authority figures all over the world in all colors. So, and it's hard for me to sit here and say like white cops, because I don't believe in race and a white and a black skin color. I say I should probably just talk the way I would normally talk, and the way I would right now set up a classroom and teach children, or how I want to hear this from everyone else. And I guess I'll start doing that, because, well, the new world is being created now, and it's certainly not being created by these people who have been trying to run the planet and control everyone. So again, there's no such thing as race. So I understand that it's very hard to describe people Like, if you say, oh, this person hurt me, it's usually just easier to say a black man or a white man or whatever. How about maybe a tall person with, I don't know, brown skin, light skin, blue eyes, this kind of weight, but certainly not black and white and yellow and whatever the hell. That is so ridiculous. Ascension symptoms, Gen Z and the end of our humanity. Well, there will be an end to our humanity if we don't knock it off and do it right. When I joined those white nationalist groups online, for the alt-right movement that was going on, it was because I was studying, and I guess that was about maybe 15 years ago, 20 years ago, I'm not even sure. I love when I forget what I'm going to say. What did it have to do with this lady? End of our humanity. I don't know, I'm sure I'll get back to it. See, I always have so much on my mind. But I should probably write things down, but that's kind of sad. The biggest story of the year and my lifetime. Huckabee, and then Obama. Oh, number Obamagate unmasked. That should be interesting. Watch. Why China is taking over African countries desperately. Oh, I was saying, earlier that Nigerian TV station, she was posting different views of what was going on and how the USA and Europe and Canada were trying to kill or have been killing people in Africa. And then they put the light man on talking about racism for the past 500 years. And then this, taking over Africa. She wasn't talking about Asian people, though. She was talking about the US, Europe, and Canada. Obviously, they have information about Africa, and that you could really live for a long time. I don't know how she said it. I'm going to have to get back on that tomorrow because I'm going to have to listen to it again. But basically, Western civilization wants Africa for a reason, and they want the African people off of the land so that they can have it. Apparently, they could make a lot of money and feed themselves for a long time. I don't know. I'll get back with you on that. A conversation with Sasha Stone, personal freedom, and HK police arrest protesters. Why so much suffering in the world? Attorney General Bill Barr, 1992. Mantras. Don Lemon goes off on President Trump, and the internet can't deal. Where did coronavirus go? Third eye. Why I don't use a smartphone. Okay, so I guess I better get moving because I downloaded some videos today from TikTok, and I probably don't have enough room on my phone for more than 30 minutes. And it's Friday, but I will be doing videos this weekend. I'm going to do a new thing where I am going to start a series, that was my intent, but I just get on here and ramble because I'm trying to show you what a typical belief system is like in the Matrix. And so I started off with how you should boost your immune system when COVID came out. Maybe 5 videos of that until I started reading Facebook content and other content on the internet, and I did that for a reason. Yes, I was blabbing a lot. They lasted 30 minutes, 45 minutes, and an hour and 15 minutes, and it was to get my point across. As I have mentioned before, there are people on here, light workers, those of us who are spiritual in nature, who know that we have come down in waves to help this planet and help humanity, because humanity will not get another go. This is it. And so you people need to wake up and change what's going on. My whole purpose of that, so all of these people came down, all have a different purpose, and they all focus on different things. So maybe Ralph Smart focuses on something, and Aaron Doughty focuses on something, and Abraham Hicks focuses mainly or probably only on the law of attraction. You have your motivational speakers. There's just a ton of us out here, and mine, I don't have a lot of views yet. I don't post it everywhere for everyone to see because I'm trying to get quite a few videos first, because people are probably like, why is she ranting about Facebook posts? Well, because I have a focus too, and mine is the belief system. And the whole stem of what everyone talks about on here is telling you what's going on and telling you how to change certain things according to what they focus on. But even the law of attraction, when they talk about that, you cannot do any of this. You can become aware of this, but you can't do any of this with the belief system that you currently have in this matrix. And it's because you don't have your own belief system. You adopted one from these so-called leaders that have been running the planet for thousands of years and have a very good grip on your reality. You do not have a grip on your reality. So although it's important to learn the law of attraction, you can just kind of let that sit here until you learn how to change your belief system, because you will never get it. You cannot manifest the things that you truly want when you have a belief system that contradicts everything that you do want, because you're taught that you can't have certain things if you're not rich. You can't have certain things if you're not white. You get what I'm saying? So if you don't change your, and it doesn't matter what color you are, you all have some kind of something from the belief system that is not actually true, but is preventing you from manifesting that which you desire, because it's like friction. You know, you say you want something, but because you really want this, but then you believe that you can't get it because of something that was told to you in this matrix. So it totally goes against that. That's friction. So you're asking, or you're saying, and then this belief is saying, and then you can't have it. But instead, you focus on the lack of what you want, and that lack is what's present, and it's that is where your vibration lies, and that is what you will get back. So you'll get back the lack over and over again, and then you'll sit there and say the law of attraction doesn't work, but the law of attraction works every single time, because it's giving you exactly what you're focusing on. You see, you might want this one thing, but if you're not really putting out to the universe that that's what you want, because you can say it once and then you believe that's what you're focusing on, but that's not what you're focusing on. You are absolutely focusing on the lack of it. And that's the same thing as when people want to lose weight. I just don't look in mirrors. I mean, I'll look at my face and, I'll brush my teeth in the mirror or whatever, but I just stop looking in the mirror because it's redundant. What is it there for? Why do you need to look in the mirror, really? I know why. Because for people who are trying to lose weight, you can simply lose weight by not looking in the mirror. and stop eating fast food, of course, and all of that kind of crap that is pushed in your face in the media. Because once you look in the mirror, even if you've lost 3 pounds, you're like, oh, I'm still fat, I'm fat, I'm fat, I'm fat, I'm fat, I'm fat, I'm fat. So even though you're sitting here trying to lose weight, you can do exercise, it's not going to work. You don't really need exercise anyway. You need to move your body, yes, but you don't need to sit there and work out to lose weight. You just needed to move your body and to be healthy, because we're supposed to move our bodies. But that I'm fat right there is what you're attracting back to you. So that is my focus. My focus is on changing your belief system so that all of these other things that people are talking about actually work and that they make sense to you. Because what you're seeing is a bunch of people saying stuff to you, and you're like, yeah, the law of attraction doesn't work. But again, it works. It's not the law of attraction that's failing you. It's your belief system that's failing you. So, okay, well, I tried meditating and it didn't work. Yeah, you're not probably sitting in a silent room. You're probably listening to the garbage that's on the freaking news, the censored news, and you're not focusing. And you're told that you have to speak through a man to get to God, and you have that in the way. Like, am I supposed to be doing this? I'm not allowed to be doing this. This is your brainwashing. Welcome to the Matrix. It's time to wake up and get out of it. I mean, I guess I'll read about this tomorrow, because I don't have time right now, because my phone might not pick this up. But how science and genetics are reshaping the race debate of the 21st century. So I will be talking about these things for the next few days, because I think it's important. So I might just read a paragraph right now, and then I will talk with you later. Donald Trump's election as the 45th president of the United States has been marked by the brewing storms of racial conflicts. A rise in racial incidents ensued in the immediate aftermath of Trump's victory in November 2016. Since the beginning of 2017, over 100 bomb threats have been made against Jewish community centers and schools. Trump's travel ban, signed in late January 2017, initially affected about 90,000 people from 7 Middle Eastern countries. 87,000 of those banned were Muslims. Minorities such as American Muslims and Black Americans have expressed fears over racial relations under Trump. Undeniably, the topic of race and racism has gripped America and the world throughout. I'll read the second paragraph before we get to the next topic on this article, which was written by Harvard University, the Graduate School of Arts and Sciences. Second paragraph. Over the last decade, there have been hopes that the U.S. has become a post-racial society, free of racial prejudice and discrimination. However, the most recent months indicate the contrary. Race remains an issue. Race and racism are not new issues, but in today's 21st century Trump era, discussions about race are distinct from those of the past in that they possess an entirely new dimension, that of genetics and DNA. And we're going to be talking about genetics and DNA for the next few days. So let's call this an introduction to my series on, I guess, racism, race, which are two different things because one is real and one is not, and genetics and DNA. Okay, and we'll also talk about the alt-right, and we will talk about Jim Crow laws, and just, my normal things that I love to talk about, which is spirituality and the Matrix, and basically how you were indoctrinated at birth into this madness called the Matrix. Okay, have a great day. It is Friday. I will be talking all weekend. Actually not going to work on Sunday, so I have more time for this stuff. Oh, and an interview on Sunday. Okay, Well, have a great day. Be happy. Spread joy. And find your authentic self. Not the one that was created for you. Alright. Peace.